Hello, my friend. It is holiday time for many of us. And here in US, that is definitely a big thing. And we get to reconnect with our families during this time or connect again with families we're already connecting with. A friend of mine was just telling me a story of one year her husband was away for Christmas for work, and she decided to just spend that time by herself on her own. And then the next morning after Christmas, she went to ballet class, and all the people in the class were saying, "Oh my gosh, if I knew you were alone, then I would have invited you to join us." And she said, "No, that's okay. I don't want to deal with anybody else's family problems." Hi, Joe. I thought that was really interesting. And she was sharing this story while we were in ballet class with our teacher in Brazil. And she's like, "What? Why do you get together with family that you don't get along with? Like, why do you spend time with people that you don't enjoy or have problems with?" So maybe it's culturally different in Brazil or just different for this woman's family. And it just really hit me, though, that we have this formality in America that it is time for the family to get back together. But for a lot of us, we haven't spent time with those family members all year long. And then that means whatever conflicts we have, they're going to come up when we come together. We haven't had that time in between the holidays to resolve it. So hint, hint for the future, just resolve it before the holidays so you can enjoy the holidays. But that's a little late for some of us right now. If you're heading into the holidays right now and you've already made these commitments and you want to follow through with these commitments. And a lot of these family members, there's a lot of amazing moments with them. So it's not like you completely want to just abolish them from your life because there's one or two areas that just don't feel good. So, how are we going to deal with these things and address it? And the first tip is just a really practical one. You probably already know the habits and patterns that come up with the people who you're going to be seeing over the holidays. So go ahead and even make yourself a list of what are those things that are going to come up that are going to feel uncomfortable in your own body, that are going to feel challenging, that are going to cause emotions that you would rather not deal with and feel. And then just create a game plan for each of those things that is coming up. So you might have to get creative, you might have to set boundaries, you might have to walk out of the room at certain times, but that's really up to you to try and come up with solutions as to how you're going to handle situations. I was just having a family member bring up the COVID conversation again, and it was the same thing that we already had 3 times. And so I just had to say to him, I was like, "Look, the conversation is going to be the same again. Like, we have different opinions on this. And I totally appreciate your care and your concern. And I'm taking into account, the research and the news and what my doctor's saying in order to make decisions for myself. And of course, I want everyone to be healthy." A lot of families get split apart because of this conversation, and I really want to remain in a harmonious place with you and have fun with you. So, could we just stop talking about this? Like, that's it. You have the right to say, "Hey, could we just stop talking about this conversation?" Now, you're going to have to come up with a solution before that, right? That's going to work with everyone. And unfortunately, sometimes the solution is to stay apart. That's really unfortunate. But then maybe you can still connect on Zoom. And then that's a solution. So really think about what that solution is going to be. But feel free to say, "Hey, I don't want to talk about this." If something you don't need to talk about, or just talk about it once, figure out a decision, and then move on from it. If let's say there's an example of, well, when somebody gets drunk, then you start getting uncomfortable around them because of what might proceed at that point. So then your game plan is, well, I'm just going to leave the room if this person gets drunk. That's it. I'll just be done for the evening. And if you want to, even just let them know in advance. Say, "Hey, I get uncomfortable when you get drunk. I would love it if you just don't do that. But I don't want to tell you what to do. So I'm just going to let you know that I'll just leave the room when you do that. And if you want to spend more time together, then please stay sober with me. Um, so give yourself that freedom to just communicate what your discomfort is and what you want. You have to keep in mind that, it's like you have the right to have what you want and to ask for what you want, to be treated the way you want. And everyone else is not required to do that, right? Everyone else has the right to either give you that or not. So you just want to really be careful when you communicate that and focus more on your wants and needs and give them space to make their own decision and figure out how you're going to adapt with the decision that they make. But make sure that they understand how you feel, the impact on you. Not your opinion as to whether or not what they do is right or wrong, because that isn't usually what makes somebody change. But when they see an impact on somebody who they care about and they feel like it's something that they can accommodate to, that can make a difference. I will give you this hint though, is that we can work together also on your reaction to things. So you don't even have to have those in the future. But we kind of need time before the next holidays in order to work on that. So I wanted to focus right now on what tips can you do. You're about to walk into the holidays with everyone. And another thing that comes up is all the gift shopping. And you might have already done that, so this might be irrelevant, but if you haven't finished doing that yet, then look into the 5 love languages because it's all about gifts during this time. And we get some quality time together by getting together. The question is, are you making it quality time? Those are 2 of the love languages, gifts and the quality time. So we also have physical touch, we have acts of service, and we have words of affirmation. And here's the key, is that we're all forced to give gifts and receive gifts, but that may not be the thing that really makes us feel loved or feel like we're giving love. We may just think it's really nice. I remember when an ex, he would bring me flowers every week, and it was really nice. I'm a little more spontaneous and adventurous, so it didn't hit that. But that's not my top love language. And then I remember one day I came home and he was so proud. He built this dresser for me and so excited. And it was nice, but it didn't hit my heart because my top love languages are quality time and physical touch. And we weren't spending a lot of time together. He was very busy doing other things and our schedules were off from each other. So you want to figure out what is your way of giving love and what is the way that somebody else wants to receive it. And then see how you can get creative to match both of those. So right now, gifts is a big thing. And if you want to stick with that formality, here's the concept of formality again. Then if your thing is acts of service, then you give somebody a physical gift that says that, I'm going to fix your car the next time it gets broken for free. I'm gonna come over and proofread that book for you that you're writing. I'm gonna come over and whatever you need this one day done around your house, I'm gonna come and do these things around your house. And let's say that their top love language is quality time. Then say, hey, like I'm going to help you do this. We're going to do this thing together if yours is service, right? So think about how you can get creative with those gifts. If somebody's is touch, you can give a gift of giving them a massage, whether it's from you or someone else. In the cards, if somebody's love language is words of affirmation, then don't just buy the card off the shelf that has the pre-printed words, but add your own words to that of what you appreciate about that person. But affirm what you see as amazing in them. And that might be what touches their heart. But if we're actually giving each other and giving in the way that is best for ourselves, what we really want and who we really are, we're also going to have a lot more fun during the holiday time because we're touching our love languages, right? When we touch our love languages, we get much, much happier, right? So here's my ex coming in thinking I'm going to be so happy and so satisfied and feel so connected with him from the gift or putting the dresser together. And there was still a gap. There was still distance from between us because it wasn't touching the thing that I really wanted. And of course, that's why we're not together today, because there wasn't that space necessarily to cross that bridge. But I do believe that couples can do that, which is why this program is out there to help couples and family members and friends. It's a fun survey to just do as you're all sitting around, figure out what everyone's love language is. Like, how informative is that, and how fun is it for all of you to discover that about yourselves? And hint, hint, that's actually what we do in the How to Love and Be Loved program. So, I've created this community concept called Dewdrop Community, where we're doing fun things together every week. But one of those times is getting together to work on our communications and to understand each other more deeply so we can truly serve each other in the way that's going to prosper and manifest the deepest relationships possible. The third tip that I want to say to you is change your state. And this is, of course, when you're in a state that you don't enjoy. So the first thing is noticing you're in a state that you're not enjoying. The second part of that is making a choice to shift your state. And then the third is, well, how do I shift my state? Here's the easiest tip. Do something other than what you are doing. I had somebody who she just flew overnight somewhere and she wrote me this email, and she's like, maybe I'm confused. I just flew overnight, like what is going on here? What does all this mean? And I just said, the important thing here is send me your Venmo so I can send you some money to pay for this. And then rest, we don't have to talk about the rest of this right now. So give yourself that space to recover if you're traveling. And feel better, if it's go rest and take a nap, if it's go take a walk, if it's turn on music and dance for a few minutes, if it's watch a movie together. But here's a quick state change. So if you could step out of the room for a moment, just take a double inhale, tense all the muscles in your body. Yeah, make a funny face while you do it. Double exhale, release. So that's another quick state change. There we go. There's 5 fingers. 5 deep breaths. That's another quick state change. Another one. And you just step out of the room, so nobody is like, why is she doing that weird thing in front of me, or, excluding me for a moment. So just excuse yourself for a moment and do these things. But here's another thing is notice the position that your body is in at that moment that you're in a state that you don't like. And, is it hunched? Is it tense? So really, really notice. And then if it's tensed, if you think you're going to feel better by relaxing it, relax the muscles in your body. And you could do the double inhale, tense and release to help you release that. If you're hunched over, open yourself up, right? If you're scrunched down, if you're getting small, when you go to the other room, reach your arms up and get bigger. So give yourself that space of confidence to put your own self in an outstanding space. One more option for state change. Sometimes as much as you're setting boundaries with people, right, they may or may not respect them, or you're still going to feel a difference, right? Because everyone has the framework in which they understand and sort of the capacity in which they're going to go in each moment. And that may or may not be matched for who you are right now. So also give yourself that space to, you could say, throw a mini temper tantrum in the other room. Clench the body for however long you need to. If you need to scream, you could stick a pillow or a towel in your mouth so it doesn't make noise, or just kind of, you just get this big breath out. You move your body, you shake it off, like whatever it is. So don't deny what you're feeling. Give yourself that space to feel it, but give yourself that space to shift into the state that is going to make everything as pleasant as possible. When you're focusing on creating something together and having fun, so be sure to fill up space with positivity. You could be playing music in the background that really feels like it's going to uplift spirits, right? So if you're playing something that isn't working, then try something different. But think about what is going to create the state for all of you to create a beautiful experience together. And if all else fails, little secret, this is actually a pretty quiet time of year for me because I'm Jewish. So I love celebrating Christmas though when people invite me, but I don't deal with a lot of what other people deal with for this holiday. So reach out to me, and I'm just working a lot during this time because I'm excited to get things ready for the Valentine's soiree that's coming next year. Little secret, that's at valentinesoiree.com if you want to know what that is. But yeah, feel free to message me if you just need a moment of support, and we can connect and you can touch in with somebody outside of anything that's happening. So many blessings, and I wish you the best this holiday season. Keep your chin up, keep looking up to all the possibilities.